part of the reason that we do Figure It Out Friday is to help people uh, talk through the journey of how they were able to figure it out, what the process is going forward. And when I sat down and talked with Brock several months ago, we found out that authors many times just don't know how to figure things out. And I, as an author myself, I I wrote a book and it came out, guess what? Just as COVID was happening. And so the a launch and promotion just didn't happen. It was just really frustrating. And I put it on the shelf for a year until the still small voice inside of me said, "Well, Michelle, what are you going to do with this book that I gave you?" And I had to think about that. And I said, well, I don't know how. I don't know the people. I don't know this, that, the other. I just need help. And that's when I got to have an opportunity come my way. And I met Coach Burt, and I was at a person of interest training with him. And I met a few people there. I met Chad Free. I met another person who we're going to talk to today. And I'd like to invite to the show is Coach Todd Harris. And he's going to join us today. And we're going to talk to him about the road to a million. Well, Coach Todd, good morning.
Morning, how are you?
I am doing wonderful, and I am just so excited to have you here on the show today. I know that in sitting down with you, I looked at the Person of Interest book, and it was in January of 2023 that I met you.
Seems like
So
it doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
I know, and one of the things that Coach Burt indicated at the time, which um, I pursued a little bit, but not as much as within this cohort of people, which continues to grow. And he said that you have we in the room had an opportunity to be able to reach out to other persons of interest and to grow our networks, to grow not for necessarily for business reasons, but encouragement and other things.
Right.
So I just thank you for, I mean, you just never know, do you?
You never know who you're going to run into and how they're going to impact your life in the future.
Right, right. So exciting. So, and knowing a little bit about you and when I met you, you were at that time going through some struggles. Uh, do you want to share a little bit what some of your struggles were and then how it related to you beginning to write your book?
You know, I, when I look at life and I look at everybody's life, I think we're always going through a struggle, right? Yeah, I don't think we're ever without struggle. I think the struggle I was going through at the time was trying to understand what my message really needed to be. Pre-COVID, we had some very successful martial arts schools. We had a marketing company that worked with a marketing and branding company that worked with membership-based businesses. And as soon as COVID happened, it shut everything down, and we literally lost everything. And coming out of COVID, I knew I could do the martial arts thing. I'm good at that. I know how to get that back to where it needs to be. But I thrive on the coaching and the marketing and the branding for business. I really enjoy that piece. But there's another side of me that I also enjoy coaching parents. I enjoy coaching kids. I enjoy coaching people and learning how to be safer in this crazy world that we're living in. And I was really struggling with which how do I do all of them or just one of them? Or how can I do one of them now and all of them later? And that was sort of where I was at. And it really was I can do it all, but I just can't do it all in the same minute. And that was a struggle that even today I still find is um I want to do it all right now, but I got to do a segment today and I have to do a segment tomorrow. But I want to help everybody right now, but I can't help everybody with this one thing with this message because this one message is for entrepreneurs. I mean, entrepreneur message doesn't always help parents. So it's and so that and it's still a struggle because my head is very loud, a lot of ideas running, and so I have to
Uh-huh.
compartmentalize daily. What am I going to do today? Who am I going to help today? And
Right. And
that sort of helped me get back to. I had written a book on bullying in the past. I'd written a book on parenting in the past, but I hadn't done anything for entrepreneurs. And I said, well, let's reopen this marketing and branding and write a book.
yeah, you know, what's really interesting in your book, the very first thing that you, very first chapter is embracing the journey from chaos to clarity. So,
Yes.
so even though the book is for entrepreneurs, many of the functions in here are so very helpful to anyone that were to pick up the book.
And that was important when I put it together was I want the message to be for entrepreneurs. There is business stuff in there, but if you picked it up, you could relate it to almost anything.
Right. And in that, and later on when you go into branding and marketing, you talk about avatars and knowing who you're going to market to and that type of thing.
Right.
So your main avatar in this book was entrepreneurs, but you also mentioned you pick out and figure out, well, you know, maybe how do I talk to the women? How do I talk to the men? How do I talk to different groups?
Right. And that I think for me, I like delivering a message that anybody can devour. It's not just for somebody, but it might be mainly tailored towards a group, but anybody can get something from it.
Yeah. You know, one one of the things in sitting in Coach Bert's class, and I was talking to people about my message and how to get it out and stuff like that. One of the first questions that um, was asked of me was, well, what's your avatar? And quite honestly, I had no clue what was meant by an avatar um, when I was starting out. I mean, I knew an avatar as far as in the movies and that type of thing,
Right,
but
right.
so maybe in case there's someone online right now, what is an avatar and what did it mean to you?
You know, for me as an entrepreneur, everybody's my avatar because I want to help everybody. But not every product I have is designed for everybody. So an avatar is what's the ideal client that you want to work with? And when you think about it, you know, what do they look like? Where do they live? How many kids do they have? What kind of jobs do they have? What kind of house do they have? Like really put a visual, name the avatar. Like our female entrepreneur is named Kelly, right? We're looking for a lot of Kellys. And we know exactly what Kelly looks like, where she shops, where she eats, where she spends her time. And if we can think like Kelly, we can find more Kellys.
Oh, so that's part of the key in developing the avatar is you basically describe the person, if you will,
Right.
and adapt and plan your marketing strategy towards capturing that person or getting that person's interest.
Absolutely. I mean, with social media marketing now, if you know exactly what you're looking for, all you have to do is plug in, you just plug in exactly what you want and it'll find it for you.
Okay.
But the
Awesome.
issue is a lot of times we want to help everybody, so we don't have an avatar. And our message really isn't for our, every product isn't for everybody,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right. And that's how you one can pick out a little bit and grow in a particular area and then expand from there.
Right. Right.
Awesome. Awesome. Um, what were some of the struggles you had in writing the book?
This was of the three, this is the hardest one for me. This one was in my head for like 2 years. My second book I wrote in about 7 days. This one took me about a year and a half because I just had so many thoughts, so many ideas. Um, once I knew, once I said it's time, and that's for me. Like my obviously I work different than everybody else. I can make myself wander for 12 more years on a book, but once I said no, it's got to be done by this date. My brain just sort of said, okay, let's start figuring it out. And the model for me was always nine to 10 chapters, three sub chapters, and every sub chapter has a quote. And so like it took me a year and a half for me to make the final decision to make a final date. But we all know if we put a date on a calendar, we'll work towards that date. But I
Right.
think a lot of times as entrepreneurs or people who are trying to write books, we say, well, one day I will. I don't know how. Oh my gosh. And we make it this bigger thing. And I made the third book this bigger thing than it really was. But once I put a date on the calendar, things just started falling into place.
Yeah. And that's part of the struggle I think that we have. Writing a book to many people is like a big elephant, and we want this elephant and we don't know how to build it, and it's just like one piece at a time. And
I look at it today though. Today it's easier to write a book than it ever was before with AI. And I'm not saying use AI to write the book, but with AI, if you have an idea but you can't really get the right words, you can say, here's the 9 chapters that I'm thinking about. Can you polish the title? And AI will spit you out 200 titles for every chapter. And you'll go, oh my gosh, that's what I couldn't, that's exactly what I want. I couldn't get that out of my head, but that's what I wanted. And you can move so much different now than you ever could before.
Yeah, one of the things that I found out when, I don't know, early on, maybe 20 some years ago, a lot of the big name writers have a legion of people that
Mhm.
do research for them, that
That's right.
spit out ideas and this, that, the other. And it's like this, now we have a modern day legion of people in AI that can help
Right.
us, and that's a new platform for me. I don't know about how many other people. Uh, let me see some fives out there if there are any other people that are seeing AI as being a help. See, yeah, we thank you, Rosario, Christian, Christian. Um, I'm gonna ask Christian a question. Christian, I'm gonna put you on the spot, okay? I understand you're writing a book. Is there a question that you may have for Todd or me that might be something that you're struggling with right now, or that you're excited about?
Um, well, I am on the spot. Yeah, I'm actually basically done. So right now I'm kind of researching publishers who to publish through. So maybe that would be something. I'm looking at Barnes and Noble, but I see there's pluses and minuses to them, to Amazon, etc. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Coach, how did you choose your publisher?
I just went through KDP with Amazon. It was the easiest one. It was simple for me. Um, if you can work the formula and you can work the formula right, and you have a great launch, you can push your book to number one on Amazon in 48 hours. So, I mean, there's definitely a formula to that. And then once you do that, you're an Amazon bestseller for the rest of your life. And so my first book, somebody did that for me, and I watched what they did, and then I said, okay, I can do that. But I found the price points on KDP. When you buy the book yourself, I mean, if you're selling the book for $15, you're buying it at a wholesale for $2.89. So I really enjoyed that piece of it, and it's quick turnaround time, and they were super easy to work with.
Cool.
Okay,
Thank you.
so you look online and KDP is the
KDP through
KDP.
is just Amazon. It's just
Okay,
their
their book
Kindle.
brand.
Yeah, it's their book brand.
Yeah, okay. And for my book, I went through Covenant Publishing, a Christian publishing company. No, we have Rebecca Black, and we have a couple other people as well that we can point you to if you're interested in. Um, but thank you, Christian. Any other questions that anybody might have? Oh, Kindle Direct Publishing. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, moving from the mindset part, let's go a little bit into the book itself, okay?
Okay.
And um, there were several things that I thought was interesting, and you had um, you talk a lot about systems and processes. Now, in a business, this is really important. Um, and so maybe what was your system and your process of when you finally decided to sit down and work through this? And um, did you set aside time during the day? Did you, uh, go off and in a retreat and close things off for a month and a half? How did you go about it?
Um, I'm pretty simple. I once I set the deadline, I booked a hotel in Charlotte, and I went for 3 days. And at the end of the 3 days, I had all my chapter titles, I had all my quotes done, I had all my the three segments of every chapter and concepts of every chapter, so I could just start writing. So I had all my ideas done in 3 days. But it really took me a year and a half to get out of my headspace as an entrepreneur to say, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, and just say, no, this is the date, let's get it done. And I work really well when I'm under pressure. So I know that about myself. I don't know why I didn't do it earlier. Um, but a big piece of it was, when I look back, I reflect. A big piece of it was I didn't finish it when my mom was alive, and I needed to finish it.
Right,
And I was trying to finish it while she was sick, and that wasn't happening.
right,
Because I was, there's a lot for her, but it took me 3 days, and then once I had those chapters, those subtitles, and the quotes, it all falls into line after that. I
right,
mean, and I finished it. It probably took me about 2.5 more weeks to have it all written out.
right. So, what the message that I'm hearing from you is we just need to start it and get it done. I mean,
Really, it's why. I mean, why does anybody write a book? You write For me, I wrote a book, so I think I want people to read this message, right? And the reality is, I know probably 100 to 200 people will read the message, but it allowed me. I mean, it allowed me to realize what I know. Sometimes we know so much and we don't know that we know things. And so I actually wrote things in the book that I'm actually implementing in my personal life and in my business life. It's things I had learned 15, 20 years ago, but I'd forgotten that I'd learned things. And
right,
so rewriting it has given me things that I need to apply to my everyday.
right. And
So, but
and
it's really just sit down and don't be scared if anybody else likes the book. It's your book. Who cares?
that's a good point. No one can take that away from you. It is the truth. It is the truth. It's what's in you, and so it's very good.
I've
Um,
got. I actually have a friend, Michelle, that is a business owner, and he was like, "Well, I would have put a few other things in the book if it was me." And I was like, "Well, let me read yours."
That's that's a good point. It's Rosario is giving you a thumbs up on that one. you know, and that is so true. I don't know what the percentage is, but I guess like Chad said, we could make up one.
Right,
95% of the people who say they give us a ding for not getting something in their book haven't written one themselves.
right, right.
So so I love that. I love that. And one of the things that you put in your book is you disabled notifications and no distractions, which is what you did when you set up the 3 days and you said, okay, we're going to get this done. So,
Every entrepreneur is probably, I won't say all of them, but a lot of them probably struggle with ADHD. And if one thing vibrates, if one thing dings, if one thing, man, you're taking off. You're just taking off. And I know when I sit down to work, if there's nothing that can vibrate, ding, or let me know, I can get a lot done. And I think that's what's important. We have to shut the world down and be like, no, this is my time.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, one of the things that it was just really impressed me also, uh, when you talk about your brands and marketing, we addressed that a little bit as well. How important was setting your brand and establishing your core values, excuse me, and those type of things into your book?
Everything I do revolves around our core values. Like everything, every decision we make in our company, every decision our employees make. We have a meeting every week, and some type of core value is talked about in the meeting. Somebody else talks about it besides me. And I think that's a big piece is, if it's not all congruent, it doesn't work.
Okay. Tell me about Gumby.
Gumby has to be friendly. He's flexible. He's adaptable. Life throws you curveballs all the time. You have to be able to adjust and keep your smile on your face. Nobody wants to work with anybody that's frowning and unhappy. And you got to make I was just talking to my dentist. We were working together on some things this morning. He's like, everybody thinks I have 3,000 friends because I make everybody feel special. And that's what Gumby does. Gumby just makes everybody he interacts with feel special.
Huh.
And that's important. That's we want everybody to feel that way. I want every interaction I have for somebody to feel special when I walk away from it.
I think that is so important no matter what field we're in or what we're doing and that type of thing. So I like that. I mean, uh, when I was thinking about core values, and I'm president of a nonprofit organization, and we're going through a transition of how we did things for 28 years, and now we're doing things entirely different, getting things documented, standard operating procedures.
Right.
When you go from a city of maybe 15,000 to 70,000, all of that changes,
Yes.
and so I was thinking about core values, but I never thought of putting it into something like a Gumby or,
Right.
and so it gave me a different approach.
Well, it's I have so many things I want to be core values, but I could find Gumby represents 8 things. William Marshall represents 7 different things.
Okay.
Papa Howard really is one hard core value, right? So like most of our core values, except for Papa Howard, have multiple meanings. And
Okay.
so when we talk about them, we can talk about one specific piece of that core value today, and we never get tired of talking about it because there's always a different piece of the core value to talk about, as
Yeah.
opposed to loyalty. Now you can only talk about loyalty so much.
Right. Right. So I hope this really helps everybody kind of piece things out. I know we had a really good speaker earlier this week with, gosh, bear with me a second, Kalia, a few days ago with Wednesday's Wisdoms with Rebecca, and I had an opportunity to talk with her. She had been talking about limiting beliefs and that type of thing, which sometimes we can self-destruct ourselves if we don't continue going forward. And I think it's so important why the person of interest, seeking to become a person of interest ourselves, but also reaching out and having this cohort like Brock has set up in this thing. So okay, let's see some 5s out there, and how many people have already started writing down at least what the chapter of their book is going to be. I know Christian's already got his already done, ready to go, but is there anybody else out there that's writing a book? Frank McKinney, when he was on last time, he said everybody has a story. Everybody should sit down and write a book if it's just for you. So I'm encouraging
Mhm.
people. He gave us a challenge to have a book written by the end of the year. So have we started? Okay,
Good job, Kevin.
published. Kevin, way to go, Kevin. Thank you. What's the name of your book, Kevin?
We have a couple of them. I think I'll be up next Friday talking about mindset now.
Okay. All right. I'm excited. I can't wait to hear about it. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. Let's see. All right. Well, you know, Alicia, I'm going to encourage you to. You have a story inside of you, and I want you to reach out to me, and maybe we can have an idea of what your book theme is going to be. So uh, I'll go ahead. I'll put my phone number on. You can text me, and then we can. So let's see. It's 7:40, Todd, and so I would like to kind of bring this to a little bit of a close and let you promote your book. But what I found interesting in your book is um, at the end of each chapter you have things to encourage people, and at the back you have free business assessment, free marketing assessment, free guides, and a working intelligence assessment. What's a working intelligence assessment?
So that's one of the newest things that we did a certification in, and a good friend of mine, some of you guys may know her, CJ, created the working intelligence, and it's been shifted called the work ethos now, where it's, you've got the Myers-Briggs, you've got the DISC assessment, you have all these different assessments, but they all have potholes. And she's sort of taken all of them and put them into one for a workplace environment where you get to see everybody's assets, everybody's liabilities. You get to see how people communicate, how they communicate with each other, where tension might be from one employee to another. And it we I was part of the experimental phase of this a couple of years ago and brought it into my business. And our business runs seamless now. I mean, it's crazy how well every one of our team members work together. There's no stress. And it allows us to now, when we hire, to hire not based on a resume, because sometimes what happens on a resume and who I get are different.
Right.
So when they take these assessments, it breaks down everything and gives me all the red lights I should be looking for, the yellow lights I should be looking for, the green lights, and I can make non-emotional decisions based on scientific fact. And
Okay.
so and that's something that I feel really strong in, because I do believe if you're not happy at work, you will now take that same energy home. And now you're not going to be the best person for your spouse or your kids or whoever's at your house. And if we can fix the workplace where most people spend 8 hours a day, like the majority of your time is spent in this workplace. If we can fix the environment at your workplace where it's a happy workplace, you're going to take that positive energy and you're going to be able to give a different version of you to your family and your friends. And
Awesome.
so that's a huge assessment. I would encourage everybody to take. And there's multiple pieces to that. It's absolutely free, but I would definitely jump on that and take the workplace assessment.
Okay, so Rika's read my mind. My next question is, how can we reach out to you? And she's put your website and where to get your book, grab your copy of Road to a Million here. So we got all of that information out to everybody on the chat. So please reach out to Todd. And as Brock likes to bring things to a close, what is the one thing that you would like to leave us today and encourage future writers out there to take that first step and get their book written?
I believe everybody's got 7 books inside of them. I do. I think everybody has 7 books. They have, you look at your Phases of Life, and there's things you need to say that somebody needs to hear. There's somebody going through something that will never get to the other side of that something until they get your book in their hand. And that will change their life forever. Write your book. And if you have trouble writing a book, call me, text me, email me, Facebook me, whatever me. I'll help you get whatever in your head to paper. I know how to ask the right questions. I've helped 5 or 6 people that are close to me just get their concept to paper, and it's easy once we get it to paper. Feel free to reach out to me. We'll do it over a Zoom or a call, whatever. But I believe you got a message that people need to hear, and if you don't give that message, somebody will never get to the other side of what they're struggling with.
Absolutely. This is incredible. Thank you, Coach Todd. What an incredible day that we've had. I've enjoyed being able to talk with you today. And thank you, Kevin, John, Christian, uh, uh, Rosario. I mean, we have so many people on here, even people that I haven't met yet. Tony, Beth, Alicia, Robin, Wendy. I can't even see everybody on my screen. So thank you, and get ready for this Easter weekend celebration services on Sunday. And we will look forward to seeing you on Monday with Motivation with Maxwell. Love you guys. We'll see you then.
It's
Thank you.